Hare Krishna, everyone, and thank you for joining our weekly Bhagavad Gita sessions. So today we will we will take the last session in the series of sessions that we have held on discussing various themes in Bhagavad Gita. Over the last few weekends or over the last few Sundays, we have discussed different themes. Theme is when Krishna speaks repeatedly about a particular topic, about a particular subject matter. Here, there is a repeated instructions which comes in the Bhagavad Gita. We can pick them up all those verses as a theme. And one such theme we discuss in our last session, which we couldn't record unfortunately, was relocation of whom, of the soul. And uh, so if for and we discuss in great detail uh, whether for something to relocate, something needs to exist outside our body. And we went in detail discussing the concept of soul once again, how we can really understand that we can exist outside our body also, or our real existence, which is spiritual, actually exist outside, can exist outside our body. And how then that substance, which is our soul, spiritual, which is in nature, can only not only exist outside body, it can perceive reality from outside body also. And we discuss the near death experiences of a lady who went through operation where she was brought to a medically dead state practically, and but still she claimed that she saw the entire operations from above. And she could describe the process that was carried on, the way her hairs were cut. And she could describe the conversation that happened between the doctors, which medically it was impossible for her to know. And that was the conclusion, that her substance is spiritual, which could come out of her body and perceive reality from outside the body. So the substance is outside body. Apart from the biological body that we have, there is a substance which is different than that. And that substance can exist outside without body also. And not only exist, it can perceive reality, it can hear, it can see things. And then the same substance has capacity to move from one body to another, across time zones, across place. uh, and we discuss Turkey reincarnation case, where a small 6-year-old boy claimed to be a big. I said, he used to say that I was big. I'm small now, but I was earlier big. And his parents were not from the religion where reincarnation is believed, so they kept ignoring. But eventually he said, you take me to that so and so village, if you not take me, I will go personally. Then they forcibly took him under the observation of few independent psychologists, so that they could record the statements, that's how, record the incidents that's going to happen. And this small boy came up with a recognition. He So his reincarnation was tested across four broad parameters. One is recognitions, uh, recognitions, then behavior and birthmarks. And he provided significant evidence across all four parameters, and therefore is considered to be one of the very substantive evidence for the reincarnation. There's no other way this boy could have known the facts which he revealed. So he had proper recollections that he had a wife, he had two sons. And then he used to live in so and so place. So he was taken to that place. He recognized his wife, he recognized everyone around, in that village. And then he revealed some facts about his wife, that were known to nobody except him, except her husband. And then his behavior was very, he became enraged by seeing his wife getting remarried. He embraced his sons, who are now very who are very grown up, much elder than he himself. He was 6 year old. And but he embraced them as if they are his children. And he revealed that, um, he revealed that his death occurred in a fight with his friends, in a drunkard strait, and there were seven fatal wounds. It was a knife fight, and there were seven fatal wounds which led to his death, which was this became a police case. The postmortem report was there, and he had seven birthmarks exactly at those places where those fatal wounds have taken place. So kind of evidence that gave us sufficient conclusion that this is a proper reincarnation case. So like that, we've studied many themes over last weeks, and now we will come to the last theme, and the title of today's session is "And the winner is." So when we say "and the winner is," we uh, so we want to limit our question to Bhagavad Gita. So let's discuss who, according to you, is the winner, or who comes as a victorious in Bhagavad Gita. In the context of Bhagavad Gita, who is the real hero? If you had to point at someone or at something as being a real hero, who that would be? You can feel free to raise hands so that we can discuss. If you want to, yes, Vikas Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam.
Hare
So
Krishna.
it is, the question is just regarding to point out who is the hero of Bhagavad Gita is, or Prabhuji, or it is elaborately the winner.
Who is the hero of Bhagavad Gita? Who comes? Who who is the ultimately victorious in Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah, so
Not
that
on
is,
the war of Mahabharat, or
yes, yes, Prabhuji. So
but
that is
who is the
Arjuna.
real hero, if we can
Yes,
consider?
yes, Prabhuji. So as we see from the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that wherein in the seventh verse, Arjuna says to Krishna that Karpanya dosho prata swabhava. From that and the knowledge imparted by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, his conclusion comes to that karishye vachanam tava, and that my all illusion has gone and everything whatever you have explained. Now I have understood and I will do whatever you tell me. So ultimately, the hero of this is, as per my understanding, is Arjuna, because he was in a bewildered state and now he is in a very free and clear state that what he needs to do now. So the restless mind of him was now totally under his control because of his the instructions of Lord Krishna. Yes, Guruji.
But who was
Yes,
fighting? Who was fighting with Arjuna? There was nobody who was fighting with Arjuna. There was
it
a
was the,
subtle fight that went on in Bhagavad Gita over course of Bhagavad Gita discussion, and Arjuna was not party to it actually. So Arjuna
it was the
is
yes,
not a winner
Guruji.
in this case.
Yeah. So it was the
Ravi
means,
Prabhu, Ravi Prabhuji,
yes,
let's
Hare
come
Krishna
Prabhuji.
back to you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, later. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. I believe that the complete hero of that Bhagavad Gita is the Lord Krishna only, because of his teachings only, because of his motivational talks to Arjuna. Then only he has performed his duties perfectly, and not only Lord Krishna gave the direction to all the human beings on the earth. So I am sure that I believe
Yes.
that Lord Krishna is
So
the hero of that.
Arjuna, Krishna, they played big role in the narration
Yes.
of Bhagavad Gita. There's no doubt about it. But they are not heroes. The hero is someone who has ability to control Krishna as well, and that is what was described by Krishna himself. Gives that elaborately explains that I'm subordinate actually to such a person. So uh, so let me give you a clue, or let me give the answer, and then you let me know who are competing for this position. So the winner of Bhagavad Gita is actually Bhakti Yoga, or the process of devotional service. Process of devotional service as the mean to attain Krishna is actually victorious. Now, if process of Bhakti Yoga, Arjuna decided to fight when he says Nashto Moha Smritir Labdhat Tvat Prasadan Maya Achyuta. He's acknowledging that he's not fighting for revenge. He's not going to fight for revenge. He's going to fight for in the devotional service. So, if devotional service is the victorious, is the winner, who are the other competing members? Let me change the question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
pranam. So the context is clear now. So there was a confusion like that. You are talking about on the personal level or what? So now the other things are that the other yogas are competing and more predominantly the our mind, intelligence. Those are the actually the hindrances in the bhakti yogas and support as well, as Krishna in sixth chapter also explained that. So the competitor to bhakti, though although those may be processes like other forms of yogas like karma yoga, dhyan yoga.
Okay. Yeah. Fine. Let's take a look at that.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
so that I got a call and it got muted. Hopefully.
No,
So
no, no. Yeah, we know
yeah,
we heard you. No, understood.
okay,
Any let me see, go to anybody else who wants to say
right.
something,
Ah,
and then
Hare
we can
Krishna.
go ahead with the session today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Yes, Satyam.
Prabhuji, I think all respected devotees who are in Krishna consciousness are ultimate winners, and people and devotees who can control their senses towards Krishna consciousness and in Bhakti Yoga are the winners. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So Bhakti Yogis are winners. Now we are discussing the who are the competing members. When you have a winner, there is a competition, obviously, correct? So we are discussing who were the competing members. So let's take a look at the flow, and we'll be basically discussing the focusing on the Bhakti Yoga today in today's theme. So the theme name is and the winner is and the winner is Bhakti Yoga. So we'll reveal the winner's name up front, but let us go to that winner and see which all bottlenecks were there for this winner to emerge really as a winner. Was it that easy, or was it that simple, or how other what challenges the other path um, were providing to are actually giving the challenges, what kind of challenges the other paths are providing to anybody who wants to be a devotee, who wants to become a bhakti yogi. So the theme name is and the winner is. So it all started with 2.7th verse. This is how we start many of our sessions. Such an important verse, and it gives us so much to talk about all the time. We've spoken so many times about this verse, but it just doesn't get over. I mean, the verse keep providing newer meanings and newer depths to our mind and our intelligence. So we keep starting with this verse all the time. So it all started with this verse where Arjuna says that Karpanya dosho pahata svabhavaha pruchhami tvam dharma samudha cheta, that I'm asking you this question because what is the question that Arjuna is asking? What is my dharma? What is my duty? And in what state of mind he is asking this question? Some mudha cheta, that bewildered state of mind. I'm not able to fight, he's saying. And prior to this verse, Arjuna has described his physical condition, where he says that I'm not even, forget fighting, I'm not able to stand on my feet. So that's why I'm sitting down. I'm crying. A Kshatriya who has single handedly won. Defeated the same Kuru army in Virat when they attacked Virat Rajya, is crying. Is crying, and not just one or two drops. It's the ashrus are flowing from his eyes. So it's not just his eyes are becoming wet, is crying properly, and that kind of a situation where he's thinking of running away from the battlefield. Now this is worse than death for a kshatriya. Kshatriyas can't do this. Kshatriyas don't do this. Famous Kshatriya has never done this. And Arjuna belonged to a kula where one after another big yodhas were there. Big Maharathis were there, and it would have brought infamy to the entire kula. had Arjuna ran away from the battlefield, whatever be the reasons. Now he's saying compassion, but 2 generations down the line, people would have thought he ran away from the battlefield fearing death. So his state of mind was completely bewildered. He didn't knew what is right, what is wrong. He didn't knew whether winning is important or losing is important. And in such bewildered state of mind, he goes to Krishna and surrenders. Krishna is present on the battlefield as his chariot driver. It's not a very respectable positions. It's not a very respected positions. Our drivers are not very respected. We don't look up to them as our spiritual masters. But Arjuna knew Krishna's position, and Krishna, out of his causeless mercy, has accepted this position of to become Arjuna's driver, so that he can guide him throughout the war and ensure he becomes victorious at the end. Now, this is the state, this is from where it all started. Arjuna surrenders, says that I am your disciple, now please instruct me, tell me what is best for me in the given situation. Now, now this is how it starts, and then the discussion progresses where Arjuna is introduced to the concept of soul, and we discuss that aspect of soul and its nature, and whether it really exists, can it really move from one body to another. All that is given in Bhagavad Gita, but beyond that, having given a body, having taken birth on this planet, in this material world, you are every jiva is forced to act. If no jiva can stop acting, even if you don't want to act, even that is considered to be an action. And if it is to be your duty, as Krishna says in 33rd verse of second chapter, that if you fail to you do your prescribed duties, that itself will lead to a sinful reaction. So if you are in a particular situation, and so if you are a grahastha, you are a parent and you have children, and if you are not able to give Krishna consciousness to your children, that means you are failing in your duty. Your duty is not just to fill their bellies and give them some education, by way of which they are able to earn some money and produce children and get and become old, like just like you. That's not goal of life. Goal of life is to become Krishna conscious and practice in the with knowledge the process of Bhakti Yoga. Now, if that is the goal, then if as a parent, if anybody fails to do this duty, then that will incur sin. That is sinful, Krishna is saying. So prescribed duty has to be performed, and for maintaining the body also one has to act. So there is no question of we not acting. Then the question will come as to how should one act. Now, if you are a soul, if you are a spiritual entity, got caught up into this material body, is forced to act, and whenever you act, you can incur, there is a danger of getting reactions. So the soul comes into a very bewildering position, because act to karna hi hai, and the moment you start acting, you might, there is a danger of getting reactions, karma bandha, as Krishna is saying in this particular verse, that eshita bhita sankhye buddhi yoge tvima shrunu buddhya yukta yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi. That act in such a way that you will not, there is no bondage of work. Act in such a way, buddhi yoget vimashrunu, act using your buddhi. Now buddhi yoga is a compound word, it's not a, so there are karma yogis, there are dhyana yogis, ashtanga yogis and jnana yogis, but there are no buddhi yogis. Buddhi yogi means simply acting with knowledge, acting with intelligence, that you can free yourself, act in such a way that you don't incur karma bandha, now bondage of work. Now this is how the discussion progresses. And then karma kanda, Krishna says that, but some people are actually working in such a way that you know they're they, for them for them the enjoyment, at a bodily level, is everything, and for that they are prepared to do austerities, they are prepared to perform some sacrifices, and so that they can get better quality of enjoyment and greater quality of bhogeshwarya gatim prati. Now, Bhogeshwarya, Bhog and Aishwarya. Bhog is at the physical level, that enjoying material body, enjoying with the body. And Aishwarya is maintaining facility for enjoyment, maintaining that facility, using which you can enjoy uninterruptedly, or the sense of proprietorship, sense of ownership, a sense of controllership that you enjoy. Apart from bodily senses, this also gives enjoyment. The Aishwarya also brings enjoyment, joy to the soul. If one is bewildered, one is attached to uh, this kind of enjoyments. Now, this is called Karma Kanda section in the Bhagavad Gita. Karma Kanda is below Karma Yoga also. Karma Kandi is performing austerities, performing sacrifices their sole objective is to get better sense enjoyment and a better material controllership. And that's why they are working hard. They are performing all the sacrifices. So this is considered to be a stage even lower than a Karma Yogi. And Krishna says that Bhogeshwarya Prasaktanam Taya Aparhata Chetasam. For such people's Chetasa, that is mind, is always captured by the desires which arise from the Bhoga and Aishwarya. Desire to enjoy, desire to possess. Now these two desires carry kidnap mind of such a person. And for such person then uh, cannot perform bhakti at all, or they have no time to perform bhakti. They will not be interested in performing bhakti. So at least become a karma yogi. Krishna is saying that that is a worse position. Now we've come that we Krishna is introduced to the concept of soul. Having understood that we are soul caught up in the material body is not end of the solution, because we are forced to act in the material world. Now one way to act is Krishna is describing: act by performing sacrifices so that you can get better facility for sense enjoyment and material possessions. But Krishna saying that that is not a very attractive way of life, because everything, later Krishna will describe that how everything is temporary, and the material sense enjoyment will not be giving us pleasure for long time. So one should rather learn to regulate the senses. One has ability, capacity to enjoy with the senses, but still one should try to regulate with the senses. One should not overindulge in sense enjoyment, or over endeavor for possessing material opulence. Both will bring you down. Both will not let you perform bhakti, sadhana bhakti at all. Both are stumbling blocks for progressing on the bhakti yoga. So what should one do? At least perform karma yoga. Karma yoga, knowing that you have a right to perform your duty, but you are not the only doer, because you are not the only doer, you don't have complete ownership of the fruits, be it good, be it bad. There is someone else who is also allotting fruits to you. And Krishna says later that someone is me. So I play a role in everything that you get in your life, be it a good experience, be it a bad experience, be it material opulence, or be it physical sufferings that you may undergo. Everything, you have a role to play, but I also have a role to play. Because of my sanction, it comes to you, not otherwise. Everything is happening with my sanction. So you are not the only doer. Don't consider yourself as the only doer. And therefore, whenever you are successful, know fully that this success has come because of the sanction of Krishna. So remain humble in your success. When you are suffering, when you are going through a difficult phase, know fully that you are also contributor to that difficult phase. Because of your own bad past actions, this phase has come, and Krishna has sanctioned it because of the karma. So tolerate, tolerate, mitigate, and then tolerate. So either way, become equipoised in happiness and distress. That is the condition, and that is the and with this mood, perform your actions. Never refrain from doing your duty. Now, this is again Krishna reiterates that the control of senses and engaging those controlled senses in me can give you the best result. Now this is the first time Krishna speak about himself. in mat paraha, that fixes his consciousness upon me. By introducing himself in the, he's still not brought himself into the center stage of Bhagavad Gita discussion. That will happen later, but here he's introducing that concept that that the controlled regulated senses can be invested in me. And in the purport, Prabhupada give example of Ambarish Maharaj, how Ambarish Maharaj engage all his senses in the service of the Lord, and thereby he was purified and he become perfect devotee of Lord. Don't act on every desire to attain peace. If you want to be peaceful, don't act on every desire that comes to your mind. Now, example, we don't answer every phone call that comes to us. We don't take every credit card offer that comes to us. We don't take every loan that gets offered to us on a phone call. We don't invest in every opportunity that people inform us using from the call center. We use our discretion. We don't act on everything that comes to our mind. We should not act on everything that comes to our mind. Same in the same way that we don't act on every information that comes to us. We use our discrimination. We use analysis, and then we discriminate, we analyze, we create scenarios, and then we choose the best available alternative and then act on it. Similarly, we don't have to act on every desire that come to our mind. Our mind can create horrible desires also. Doesn't mean just because it has come to our mind we should act on it. Every desire, we can choose to act on every desire. And there, for that to happen, we should separate ourselves from our mind. We should know that we have a mind, we are not a mind. We should know we have a mind, we are not our mind. And therefore whatever comes to our mind, we need not really act. And it is possible to control ourselves from acting on every desires that comes to our mind. Our mind is a ugly place, we every now and then we can get good, bad and ugly desires. And if we really start acting on all of those, our life can become a living hell. So discrimination is must. And from where we get knowledge to discriminate? From the sadhu, from the guru, sadhu and shastra. We should get the right knowledge and use the right discrimination and pick the right desires to act on. Activity is must for everyone, to have who has taken birth. So first, as Prabhuji has explained, Vikas Prabhuji explained nicely that there are many contenders, and the first contender that comes in Bhagavad Gita is Karma Yogi. Now, why so many options are given? So there are many options Krishna has presented in Bhagavad Gita. Karma Yoga is one of them. Jnana Yoga is another one. Dhyana Yoga is another one. Uh, Buddhi Yoga, Krishna has explained, use this terminology, but doesn't it? It's not an independent process. It is just acting using your intelligence for in the material world. Then there are Mayavadis, impersonalists. The devotees are personalists, and then there is a big class of people who are impersonalists. The impersonalists are again further divided into Mayavadis and Brahmavadis. So, and then there are demigod worshippers. So these are different categories of people. Now, Krishna is again not discussing those who don't come to him. No, those categories of people are excluded, but even those people who come to Krishna, or those people who accept the authorities of Vedas, those people who are prepared, who consider that there is a higher reality that exists, who is in control of him, who has unrestricted control over the life of us, our life. And those people, when they realizes this fact, and they act on that, no, they are prepared to surrender, consider themselves as subordinate to somebody. They are okay to consider somebody as their authority. They are prepared to worship somebody. Now they may not always come to Krishna, or everyone may not be able to come to Krishna because of their own limitations, because of their own conditionings, and their own modes of nature that they all possess. They will not, everybody will be able to come to Krishna, but some of them will come, but many of them will be under any of these categories. Some of them will choose to become karma yogis, some of them will choose to become jnana yogis, some of them will choose the meditation, the path of meditation, dhyana yogi, they will become, and some will be Mayavadis, some will be Brahmavadis, some will be demigod worshippers, and some will obviously be coming to Krishna. Manushyanam Sahasreshu. So we will see in the flow of discussion, we will see all of them who is doing what and what Krishna has said for them. What is Krishna's opinion about them? Now, it's not that Bhakti Yoga is the only yoga that exists and other are not important, but others are but Krishna has categorically saying that Bhakti Yogi is easy. Bhakti Yoga is easy to perform yoga. And this is apart from, this is in comparison to all other yogas, all other everything else that we discussed so far. Bhakti Yogi is in a better place for success, becoming successful, because the process itself is very simple. And we will see that in the course of discussion. We'll see lots and lots of verses for us to be able to um, go through this. So yeah, so in the third chapter, Krishna is saying that again, third chapter is titled as Karma Yoga, and wherein Krishna is saying that activity is must. That Sharira Yatra, if Sharira Yatra has to continue and has to go on, and all of us will have certain time on this planet in the given body, and for the udara nirvaha of this body, for this body to survive for that time duration, body soul must act. Soul cannot soul has to act, soul is forced to act to maintain the body at the least, even if it doesn't want to contribute to the society, but still basically for the purpose of body maintenance, at least soul has to act. And then Krishna says, if you have to act, why don't you act, perform action in such a way that you don't yield any reactions? So then the question can be how one can act in that way. The Krishna gives the secret that yadnarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana, that if you work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise work cause bondage in the material world. So Krishna is saying that everything should be done for Vishnu. Everything should be done for as a sacrifice to Vishnu. Now, uh, so yajna, Krishna is the later he will explain in the verses 5.29 and other, I think of 9 chapter also in 9.25, that he is the ultimate benefactor of all the yajnas. Now here, the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, he is not identifying himself as the enjoyer of all yajnas, but later he will identify himself to be the enjoyer of all yajnas when he say that aham hi sarva aham hi sarva aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha. And in 5.29 also Krishna will say something similar, which we'll see later when we'll go to that particular verse. But here Krishna is saying that work should be done. One is so we started the journey from where we are saying that we are soul. We are not this body, we are spirit soul, and as a soul we are caught up in the body. Once we, and the body has a duration, body will die, body will go through 6 stages. We saw it's created, it will grow, it will have a reproduction, it will have it has ability to maintain itself, it has ability to reproduce, and it will dwindle, and then it will die, it will get destruction. There will be destruction also. So while going through these 6 phases, there will be a duration. for which the body has to be present on this in this form in this material world. So for the simple purpose of maintenance of our body, one is forced to act, even if one doesn't want to do anything else. But for the maintenance of the body, also one has to act. So then the question is, how can one act? Now, one can act in such a way that one does not get karma bandha, or the fruits for which one is forced to take birth again, either to enjoy or to suffer for those fruits. So how such activities then can be performed? Krishna says that if you do it as everything that you do, if you do it as a sacrifice for Vishnu, then such work does not yield you any fruit. That is called a karma. Good karma, bad karma, and this is a karma. A karma means we are doing activities for offer as an offering to Vishnu, as an offering to Krishna, and then such activities does not yield any fruits. And that way, even if you are performing all kind of activities, you remain free from bondage. So and how such activities, which are the where is the list of those activities? Those activities are activities performed in Krishna consciousness. In Krishna consciousness, you can build temple, you can have family life, you can have produce children, you can do work to maintain your family, and you can do everything practically visibly done by other karmis. But if you do it by keeping Krishna at the center, you do not yield fruits of those actions, and thereby you remain karma free, you're bondage free. And thereby, and if you perform sadhana bhakti along with that, then that will help you burn previous fruits also. So by sadhana bhakti, you can burn the previous fruits, previous accumulated fruits for millions and millions of lifetimes. Plus, while acting in the material world, you are not incurring fresh fruits, and thereby you become yourself eligible for going back to Krishna. So, 30th verse in the third chapter, Krishna concludes concludes the Karma Yoga discussion by saying that actually Karma Yoga means surrendering your work unto me with full knowledge of me, without desire for profit or with no claims to proprietorship, free from lethargy, perform your prescribed duties at all only. Now, again, we discussed these verses in detail when we went through these chapters, and so we'll only touch upon these points, some of the important points from these verses, not really go detail into these verses. So, Krishna is saying that the Karma Yoga is, in nutshell, Karma Yoga is also difficult. Karma Yoga is also not easy to perform, because while performing, while acting, if you have to remain free from um, acting, while acting, one is naturally likely to work for results and will have some attachment to the results. And Krishna says, if that is there, then that is karmic, that may not be sufficient for you to perform karma yoga. A perfect karma yogi, becoming perfect karma yogi, is also very difficult. That's what we can conclude from this verse. Then what happens then? In the progressively, when we go to the fourth chapter, we went to the fourth chapter. In the beginning, Krishna speaks more about himself, and he says that he's given this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita uh, to sun god, and he has passed it on to his sons, and thereby evam parampara praptim evam rajarshayo vidu sakale neha mahata yogo nashta parantapa. In the course of time, this knowledge got lost. Now this Krishna just give this as a passing comment, that why he's making Arjuna hear this knowledge again. Now this again reveals that Arjuna's bewilderment was caused by Krishna's yogamaya. Because Krishna wanted to speak Bhagavad Gita, he wanted a proper person to receive this knowledge. He wanted an authority to hear this knowledge, so that a new parampara can be started. And Arjuna was that authority. Why? Because Bhakto Simi Sakha Cheti. He was not only he was his Sakha, he was his very dear friend, and he was his devotee as well. And hence Arjuna was made the first receiver of this transcendental knowledge by Krishna. And Krishna reveals that nimitta, he is just a nimitta, but Krishna wanted to speak this knowledge. Therefore, this situation gets created whereby Arjuna can get bewildered, he can ask right questions, and in response to which Krishna can give right knowledge for benefit of not only Arjuna but for benefit of all of us. So Krishna, and that time Krishna in the fourth chapter explains a little bit more about himself, where he gives the purpose why he comes to the material world. And he says that while he says that he did not come, and even if he comes, there is no obligation for him to act, but he's still coming at his using his own free will. He's coming, and once he comes, he try to act according to the rules that are defined in this material world. But he says that I'm not bound by this. I need not follow the rules of this material world. I can lift Govardhan Hill against the law of gravity, because law of gravity is where is I am the owner of that law of gravity, and I'm the controller of that law of gravity. Law of gravity is created by me for your purpose. I'm above law of gravity. So wherever I touch the mountain, the center of gravity comes there, and mountain gets perfectly balanced. Even if I need not lift it, it can still go up if I so desire. And so none of the laws I can break every law, because I have made these laws for your purpose, not for me. They are not binding on me. And he's revealing that why then he at all comes. He says that paritrana sadhudam manashaya cha dushtutam. Now, is that the real reason, that if he has to kill somebody, he has to personally come? If he is every, if he is omnipotent, omnipotent means all powerful, he can do anything. He can do anything, and he need not be here physically presence. He can sit in Golok Vrindavan and kill demons on the planet Earth. That is also possible for him to do. Or he can get it done through his agencies, Yamraj, Durga Devi, Lord Shiva, any of his demigods, or any other demigods. They can be asked to do the job. Why he has to personally come? He says that in the ninth verse, where Krishna says that जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम एवं यो वित्ति तत्वतः त्यक्त्वा देहम पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति so Arjuna, that he doesn't come to kill demons. That is the external reason. The internal reason is he comes with his devotees and he perform beautiful pastimes, beautiful Vrindavan pastimes he performed. And he performed those pastimes to attract attention of his devotees, who are today caught up in the material sense enjoyment, who wants to enjoy the body of the other people, who want to enjoy using their physical bodies, the various activities. They want to draw small pleasures here and there by engaging in the worldly activities in the material world. Now, those jivas, they have no idea what transcendental pleasure is in the Golok Vrindavan. And Krishna gives them a glimpse, a trailer of those activities in the by performing the similar activities in the material world whenever he takes birth. So he takes birth to restart the process of Bhakti Yoga. He performs activities so that those activities can get captured and can get discussed by the devotees. If Bhakti Yogi has to meditate on the form of Lord, he need to see the
आ
form
रहे
of
हैं
Lord.
बोला
And so Krishna therefore appears in the material world, and yes, okay. So Krishna therefore appears in the material world and perform all these wonderful activities, which are captured by sages, which are discussed by devotees, which are meditated on by the devotees, on which beautiful songs are written. Namami Ishwaram, Satchidananda Rupam, the Satkundalam. So so that they can be devotees can sing this song and remember all those pastimes again and again, again and again, and thereby increase their they get attracted towards Lord. They get attracted towards the activities that are performed by the Lord. The Krishna is his Krishna is all attractive. By name itself, Krishna means all attractive, and he's attractive. His form is attractive. His gunas, qualities are attractive. His activities are attractive. So let me just mute everyone again. Okay. And his those attractiveness is revealed through his pastimes, and those pastimes he has to come he so and for the performing those pastime he has to come to he willingly comes to the material world with his associates and perform those pastimes which get where which gives pleasure to the devotees who are present at the moment when Krishna is performing pastimes, and later devotees discuss those pastimes with each other, hear those pastimes, and tushyanticha ramanticha kathayantascha, they tell each other about those pastimes, and thereby they derive great pleasure. They develop attraction for Krishna. They develop attraction for going back to Krishna. That if discussion of these pastimes gives them so much pleasure, what how much pleasure they will get by participating in these pastimes if they can go back to Krishna. Thereby, so the purpose of Krishna's coming is not to just kill demons. That he could have done anyway, but to perform pastimes which become subject matter for devotion, for bhakti. And the form that get described, that devotees meditate on that form, the qualities that get described, devotees meditate on those qualities, the activities, the various leelas Krishna perform, now they become subject matter of meditation for devotees meditate on them, and thereby they remember, they cultivate constant remembrance of Krishna, and they go back to Krishna. Had Krishna not come to the material world, it would have become impossible for devotees to meditate on the form which is not described, not seen, and not heard of. So thereby his own by his mercy he choose to come, though he doesn't have to come in every millennium, but by his own free will he comes perform activities so that devotees can get attracted to Krishna. Reciprocal Krishna, he respect our free will if we choose not to get attracted towards Krishna. So Krishna's activities are there for everyone to see and read and perceive and meditate upon, but not everyone gets attracted towards Krishna based on based on the desires that one has cultivated, based on the sanskaras that one has due to past activities performed. One may or may not get attracted towards Krishna. And if one choose not to get attracted towards Krishna, Krishna respect individual decision, individual free will, and then he reciprocate with everyone accordingly. Those who choose to get attracted towards Krishna, Krishna gives them more intelligence. We see that in the 10th verse of 10th chapter. Krishna says, if you तेषां सततयुक्तानां भजतां प्रीतिपूर्वकं ददामि बुद्धियोगं त्वां येन माम् उपयन्ति ते. Now, ultimate purpose is to go back to Krishna, stop the cycle of birth. And for that, the additional intelligence is required. Krishna says, I will give that intelligence to those who has such a desire to come to me. Those who don't have any desire to come to me, I I give them my forgetfulness so that they can try and enjoy in the material world. The moment they turn to their face towards me, I start giving them extra knowledge. But unless and until they desire, I don't intervene into their free will. So Krishna can make a person who is not able to do things, Krishna can make him do things. Mukam karoti vachalam, pangum lagati Giri. A mukam, a person who cannot speak, can recite verses, and a pangu who cannot walk can capture mountains. That's the mercy that Krishna can. That this is very small miracles that that can happen with Krishna's mercy. But Krishna cannot. If a person is not willing to worship Krishna, willing to accept authority of Krishna, Krishna cannot force him to make him accept his as authority. Now Krishna respect his free will. Krishna, if he's unwilling, then even Krishna cannot help such person. But if he's willing, Krishna can Krishna can bring miracle into such life person's life. So we should be in the category of willing and trying, so that tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. With priti, we should be endeavoring to perform bhakti yoga, so that Krishna can give us more intelligence to understand him well, and thereby go back to him. With his mercy, with his intelligence only, that is possible. So Krishna is reciprocal. Now karma or action can be performed without getting entangled in the fruits, just like a lotus leaf can remain in water without being touched by the water. um, Again, this is required to be understood and practiced by all of us, because as a bhakti yogi we cannot remain completely cut off from the society. So we need to act in the society, we need to go to college, we need to go to offices, we visit markets, we need to be in the marketplace. And not always we will have devotee association where, you know, where there will be Tushan teacher, Raman teacher, will discuss Krishna Katha and derive great pleasures. We will be surrounded by non-devotees, people who actually hate Krishna, people who are completely atheists, completely non-believers in any conception as God, or who could be demigod worshipper, or who could be anyone other than that, other than devotees. Now, how should we act with such people? We should act with such people. Padrapatram ivambhasa. Just like how lotus leaf remains in the water but still remains dry, like that we should remain with everyone but still not get entangled with anyone. Which means we will deal with the people only to the extent it is bare necessary, not entangled into those relationships. So remain detached from the relationship if we wherever we have to, but otherwise not getting entangled. That's a key message we all have for all of us. That's what the lotus leaf teaches us. The Bhuktaram Yajna Tapasa Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, that I'm the enjoyer of all austerities and all the sacrifices. So whatever you are performing, if you for whoever you are performing austerities for any reason, Krishna says, I am the ultimate benefactor of all those austerities. I am the God of all gods. So do it with knowledge of me, and then those will be more beneficial to you. If everyone is performing austerities, people go from walking from here to Shirdi, or all kind of austerities people are performing for various reasons, for some benefit, for some promotion, for getting a child, for getting a spouse, for getting or whatever, the promotion or whatever the different reasons for which different people are performing different kind of sacrifices. Krishna says, I am the ultimate benefactor of all those sacrifices. So do it with knowledge of me, and then I can give you benefit directly. Don't No need for you to go to other places. Bhakti yogi is the highest. That is, Krishna says as his opinion. But dharmam to sakshat bhagavat pranita. So whatever Krishna is Bhagwan. So whatever Krishna says, that's actually the final word. He doesn't have to say that this is his opinion, because his opinion is ultimate fact. So yoginam api sarvesham madgate nantaratmanam श्रद्धावान भजते यो माम सैते युक्तो तममतः. जो श्रद्धा से मेरा भजन करते हैं, such yogi is the best of all yogis and the most intimately united with me in yoga, and the highest of all. That is my opinion. Now this is described after this verse comes as the last verse in the sixth chapter, which describes dhyana yoga in detail. Dhyana yoga, which has various stages of yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Now, up to the stage of samadhi, there are 8 stages. That is why it is also called as Ashtanga Yoga practice, Dhyana Yoga practice. Now, a dhyana yogi, this is again described in great details, and requires the yama niyama if itself, if you go through, we'll realize is these are impossible to be followed in the current age so properly. So one may never reach a stage of asana. Today we see yogasana. Yoga day is celebrated in India and across the world, and people perform different physical postures which are good their um, for the maintenance of their health of their body. Uh, but that's a third stage. People don't know that yama niyama asana, and then pranayama pratyahara. Pranayam also, a lot of yoga schools they teach pranayama, but again that's not all. I mean, these are the third and fourth stages. If you have not done first and second and directly jumped onto the third and fourth stage, it's not going to give you much benefit. And nobody definitely goes to pratyahar, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. These are unrealized dreams for everyone in today's times. Nobody can do that because the controlling of mind was difficult for Arjuna 5,000 years back. We have no hope. So one should not even waste his time doing that. And therefore, Krishna says Bhakti Yogi is best. Bhakti Yogi is best amongst all the form of yoga. We have still not discussed Jnana Yogi. Jnana Yogi is one who is trying to understand Krishna and thereby cultivate his liking for Krishna. His attraction for Krishna is developed based on the knowledge that he's getting. We'll discuss briefly that in the seventh chapter. And the seventh chapter starts with a very beautiful verse. We've seen this again multiple times. Maya sakta mana partha yogam yunjam madashrayaha asamshayam samagram mam yatha gyasasi tachrunu. Simply by the process of hearing, you will get knowledge, and that knowledge will with full knowledge when you will become free from all doubts, and in that consciousness you can worship me, you can perform bhakti in a wholehearted way, and thereby that's how you can get attached to me. Maya sakta manah partha. You get mind. You can get your mind attached to me. Your mind should be attached to me. For every small thing, we say that our mind is a mind and intelligence. Mind look short term, and intelligence look long term. And if we can, on the short term and long term, if both we can come to Krishna, that is the success of our life. And we'll see that in subsequent verses. Krishna is making a specific mention of the same. Then Krishna says that Manushyanam Sahasreshu, that out of many thousands amongst men, one may endeavor to for perfection, and those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So knowing Krishna, knowledge of Krishna is also very rare. Knowing Krishna is also not easy. Why? Because Krishna at one level it's at one level Krishna is a small boy in Vrindavan, playing various pastimes with his friends, with his mother, with his father, with his brother, with his cowherd boyfriends, and many girlfriends, many elderly ladies. The fruit vendor story we heard yesterday in the Sish seminar, how beautifully she desires that he gives, instead of grains, all his grains Krishna gave becomes jewels, and she says, no, I don't want it. You are a Mukunda, and so give me liberation. And then and then he says, how do you know I'm Mukunda, I can give liberation? I am a small child. And he says, no, your legs have all the all the signs are there on your feet, and you are supreme god. So why don't you then, she desires that you sit on my lap and say maya once, and then he fulfills that desire, and she gets liberation. She achieved liberation, and that's how we see beautiful pastimes. In beautiful pastimes, Krishna is manifesting himself as a small innocent boy, just like a toy in the hands of Vrindavan Vasis, Brujvasis. They play him play with him like as if they play with a toy. But at the same time, Krishna is much more than that. Krishna is in the seventh chapter, he reveals that the whole material world and living entities are his separated energies, are his energies. The bhumi rapo nalo vayu kham mano buddhi revacha. Now these are all his separated energies, and the living entities are also his energies who are supposed to exploit these energies for making a life in the for living surviving in this material world. So Krishna further goes on to say is that mattah parataram na anyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. Krishna is the greatest and no one is equal to or greater than him. Now the same Krishna who was getting scared looking at the stick of mother in the hand of mother Yashoda is saying this. They're not two different persons, they're the same person, but in the past time he forget his godliness, he forget his divinity, he forget his divine nature, but otherwise he remembers it, and then this is what he is, that is this is the reality. He's not saying this to Arjuna with pride. He's just stating facts that this is the reality. This earth, water, ether, fire, air are his separated energy. And O conqueror of wealth, Parantapa, remember you are a Dhananjaya, but remember that there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests on me as if pearls are strung on a thread. So he's reminding Arjuna, and then he further goes on to say that how he is testing water, he is light in the sun and moon, and various other verses through which he explained that ability in men, your ability to speak comes from me, ability to breathe oxygen comes from me. You are breathing air but the body is absorbing oxygen and throwing out the carbon dioxide. Now all that is possible, that is ability of to do this also comes from me. When this ability is withdrawn, you are given ventilator. Though ample oxygen is available, you can't absorb, your body cannot absorb anything. Then you are manually artificially given those veins, lungs to breathe, and you're put on ventilator. So Krishna is required, Krishna's assistance is required for us every moment, for our survival every second. Without Krishna we cannot even survive for a minute, for a second. And original seed prowess of the powerful people is Krishna. Strength of the strong people is Krishna. Sex life in which is not contrary to the religious principles is Krishna. So Krishna is everything, everywhere, wherever we can, whatever we can think of is Krishna's separated energies. That is Krishna's um, opulence. So after having said this, Krishna says that if we don't after knowing this also, what is our natural position should be to surrender to Krishna. That if you are so great, if you are really so great, then let me surrender myself to you, because we have very little control over our life, practically, except from desiring. We have no other control. The moment we desire, modes of material nature gets kicked in, and we perform activity, which and the results comes as per our destiny, as per our past karma. So everything else get triggered the moment we desire. From that moment onwards, most of the things which happens are really not in our control. So with this knowledge is something, what an intelligent person should do is to surrender to Krishna, to become subordinate to Krishna. And if we still can't do that, then we will end up surrendering to Maya. Daiviya Esha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratvaya. What make us believe that we still have some control over our life is illusion. And that is what role of Maya is. And so if you are not surrendering to Krishna, you are surrendering to Maya. But Krishna says, if you want to taranti te, Maya metam taranti te, if you want to cross over the ocean of Maya, you need to surrender to me. By surrendering me alone, you can cross over the Maya. And why? Because Maya is my energy again. Maya works under my supervision. Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate charachara. Under my supervision it is functioning. So know that, at least knowing this, at least you surrender to me. Krishna is giving various reasons for a soul. Now, this is not for Arjuna, this is for all of us, because different persons will have different triggers. By seeing, by hearing different things, they may get attracted, they may develop attraction towards Krishna. Now, Krishna's job is to present himself, uh, or make himself look attractive for the purpose of, for the soul, for the living entity, that somehow, anyhow, you develop that attraction towards Krishna. Yena kena prakarena mana Krishna niveshate. So develop that attraction for Krishna somehow, anyhow. And for that, Krishna is giving elaborately various options. And one of it at least may click our mind, and we may develop some attraction towards Krishna hearing one of those. If we're not, then we are surrendered under Maya, we are under the control of Maya. But Krishna says, don't remain under the control of Maya. It's not very pleasant, it's not very enjoyable. Come to me, and if you surrender to me now, you can cross over the Maya. And Maya will not trouble you then. But do take first step, take that first step of surrendering to me. Take that first step of acknowledging my prowess, acknowledging what I'm doing for you, who am I really, acknowledging my superiority over you, and accept your subordinates against me. Become humble, remain humble. Don't become arrogant. Don't think you are the doer. These are the simple instructions Krishna is trying to give again and again. Everything is aimed towards convincing a living entity that he is not in control of his life, and Krishna is in control of his life. So he's subordinate to Krishna. So he should surrender to Krishna. This simple thing does not पल्ले नहीं पड़ती हमारे हमारे दिमाग में नहीं जाता. And we keep, every morning we get up thinking we are the doer, we are the controller, we are the owner, we are the everything. And by our action only things are going to happen. If we don't act, things will not happen. Now, this is illusion, this is Maya. And getting that knowledge of about Krishna and surrendering to Krishna can become a very long term process if one is not guided by devotees. If one is not factoring, one is not performing Bhakti Yoga, then purely Jnana can take you bahunam janmanam ante, can take you life after life after life after life. Jnanavan mam prapadyate. End of the day, you will really get convinced, and then you will surrender to Krishna. And Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Such a soul, knowing me to be the everything, knowing me to be the cause of all causes, such a soul is very rare. But again, this is a bahuna, this process can be long term. Bahunam Janmanam Ante. Krishna is not saying in other places, Krishna is saying Bhakti Yoga. For there, he is saying it is Sulabha. But here it is saying Jnana Marga is also a difficult phase, because you remain under clutches of Maya for too long. And the potential, the possibility, probability of your fall down is also greater. So more you stay in the world of Maya, more you will have ability to fall prey to her tricks. Maya Devi can trick you in any way. She can hit you where it is, where at the most delicate portion, or at the most delicate weakness of our mind. Maya Devi can hit us there. And if we are not alert, we will not be able to protect ourselves. uh, it's practically impossible for us to win over Maya, because this is Maya's area, and we are foreign in this, we are alone in this struggle. But if we surrender to Krishna, if we have Krishna on our side, then we will cross over Maya. And that process, if you not take on the Bhakti Yogi, if you don't become a Bhakti Yogi, can take you Bahunam Janmanamante. Bharat Maharaj also took 3 births. What to speak of us? So if you are not becoming a devotee, if you don't agree to become devotee and follow all the regulative principles and for perform sadhana bhakti under strict guidance of devotees, then we will also not have much of hope. But Prabhupada has made things so easy, so accessible to all of us, that by his mercy, because of his mercy, because of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, this is becoming possible. It is possible to attain Krishna in one lifetime. And Prabhupada write that elaborately in many purports in Bhagavad Gita, also in Srimad Bhagavatam, also in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And we should take heart from those commentaries that yes, Prabhupada is saying it is possible. So let me give my try. Let me give my best shot. In Let me perfect myself in one lifetime and go back to Krishna in at the end of this lifetime. But not everyone is so fortunate. The people will still have material desires. Kame staitar hatadnyanam prapadya anya devata. So what they will do, bahunam janmana mante hai na, तो शॉर्टकट में क्या अवेलेबल है, अन्य देवता, तो लेट मी गो टू देम. सो लेट मी गो टू अदर demigod worshippers, other demigods who uh, who I have heard that gives me whatever I desire, if I perform some basic devotional service to them. By doing some basic things, they are prepared to give me whatever I desire. Now Krishna says later that antavantu phalam teha, that their fruits are temporary and limited, and whatever they are sanctioning actually is sanctioned by me. Without my sanction, even they cannot give you anything. And they giving you something is like a shopkeeper giving you something for in return of money. Shopkeeper is least bother about your health, about the implications that such a product can have on you. But a parent will definitely think twice before giving anything to her child, and because parent has child's best interest in her mind, so whenever she's giving him something, she has that best interest in her mind, and thereby she sometimes may not agree to give certain things. कोई बाजार में से चाह रहे हैं, बहुत मक्खी बैठा हुआ समोसा पड़ा है और काफी देर से खड़ा है, पड़ा हुआ है वहां पे, एंड son wants it, child wants it, child see that, develops a lot of attraction towards that samosa and start crying that I want it. Now a mother may see that samosa, a shopkeeper may give, if you give right amount, whatever he wants, he may give that samosa because he's there to give that samosa, he wants to sell that samosa. But but a parent, a mother will not give that samosa, say thinking about the health of a child, that child may have that samosa and they may fall sick, and therefore she may not agree to give that samosa to the child. And for child sometimes may find such action by parent um, to be child may become angry at parent for not giving samosa, because child may feel that he's been deprived of having a beautiful samosa, and which shopkeeper was ready to give. But the parent has long term interest in the mind of a child, for a child, parent care for child's long term interest. uh, Shopkeeper doesn't even care about child's in any interest, neither short term or long term. So a child may see protection by parent as a restriction, and therefore may avoid parent and may go to the shopkeeper. That's what happens when people go to demigod worship. Further, Krishna says in 8th chapter that the Sulabha Partha, we discussed this, that the other processes are actually difficult. Now, becoming Karma Yogi, now rising above Karma Kand itself is very difficult because we have so many desires. We always want to do good to get good. We want to do good to get good. That's Karma Kand. That's a religious materialism, that by keeping by acknowledging that the fact that whatever enjoyments we are getting are coming from some gods or demigods, and we being prepared to pay the price for the same. By if some sacrifice has to be done, let me do that sacrifice, but let me get the get some sense enjoyment. So the focus is not worship. There's no love for god, there's no love for even demigods. This is more of a trading relationship, a commercial contract by which you are giving something to the gods and you expect something in return from the gods. And so that's not a very good healthy relationship. This is not loving relationship that Krishna wants to develop with us. And so so that from that to rise to karma yoga, where you are nishkam karma yoga, where you are doing only for the purpose of doing duty. As a matter of duty, you have no attachment to the fruits. Now that itself is very difficult. Jnana yoga is very difficult. We saw uh, bahunam janmanamante, and dhyana yoga is furthermore difficult. Chanchalam hi mana krishna pramathi balavadridham. Now such mind is who can control mind today? Nobody's mind is in their control. So all the three paths are difficult, but Krishna says bhakti is easy. Ananya Cheta Satatam. If you are able to do first part, second part becomes easy. Ananya Cheta Satata, without deviation. Yomam Smrti Nitya Shaha. Remembering Krishna Nitya Shaha. Always remembering Krishna. Yomam Smrti. Krishna is making a direct reference to himself. Yomam Smrti Nitya Shaha. अगर मेरा कोई स्मरण करता है without deviation, for such a person, Bhakti Yoga तो बहुत आसान है. Bhakti Yoga is very easy. Tasyaham sulabha partha nitya yuktasya yogina. Now, after having described Bhakti Yoga, how Bhakti Yoga is easy, Krishna will go on again. Go back to go back to the point that why one wants to become Bhakti Yogi. One wants to become Bhakti Yogi not because out of sentiment, not only because because he is good for nothing. It is not meant for unintelligent people. In fact, it is meant for intelligent people. That also Krishna will confirm in later verses. But Krishna will go back to the point that he, bhakti, you should become his devotee because he is worthy. There is nobody else worthy of becoming your devotion, of your devotion. No one is worthy of your devotion other than Krishna, because Krishna says, you are my separated part and parcel. You are my child. I'm your father. And we already have a bond. We already have a relationship. I'm only reminding you of that forgotten relationship. And therefore, there is already a relationship. And now I'm giving you more reasons for which you should remember me. Your whole existence is dependent upon me. I'm controlling the whole manifestation uh, in which you are unnecessarily born and get destroyed and again born again. You're caught up into the cycle of birth and death, and all that you can avoid if you choose to come to me. Now this I have created because you wanted it. You wanted to enjoy independently than me. So but by simply changing your desires, modifying your desires, instead of wanting to enjoy independently of me, you say that you want to enjoy with me, and then you can come to me. I will give you intelligence so that you can understand me, and once you understand me in tattva, you can come to me easily. But for that to happen, you need to get convinced that you are caught up in a wrong place. You are caught up in a most difficult place. You are suffering in this material world. Unless we get convinced that hum jail mein hai, there is no question of somebody trying to go out of jail. One is comfortable, becomes too comfortable in the jail. One becomes, unless one understand that he's in a place where there is constant danger, there is constant suffering, and there is some little pleasure just to keep us interested. Now, and our search for eternal happy life is not possible in this material world, because this world is not fit for that place. This is not the right place. You're searching for right thing at wrong places. And for that to be convinced, Krishna again go back to explain his greatness. Krishna is saying that uh, that by me, in my unmanifested form, the whole universe is pervaded. How he is pervading the entire universe, and all everybody is in me, but I am not in them. I am separate. Everyone is in me, but I am separate. I'm outside. Just like the whole universe was in his mouth when he saw show universal form to Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda could see the whole universe in his mouth. She saw herself sitting with Krishna also inside the mouth of Krishna. And seeing this, she just got bewildered and she just fainted. And then Yogamaya just took over. And she brought her. When she woke up, she forgot everything, whatever she had seen, and she thought that to be some dream. And then she, lifted Krishna and embraced Krishna, and then took him to feed him some food, and her natural motherly love returned. So that Aishwarya, that what was she saw, didn't lasted for too long, because Krishna didn't wanted her in to her reciprocation in that mode. Krishna wanted Maya to behave like Maya, at time chastise him, at time take care of him, at time be protective about him, and he loved that relationship with her. So he doesn't want her to be in that mood, Aishwarya Bhav, but he want all of us to, for the purpose of developing attraction towards Krishna, he want all of us to know that these factual positions. So everything and everyone is created, maintained, and destroyed by Krishna. At the end of millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature, and at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. Eighth chapter, Krishna has said similar things with respect to the Brahma Bhuvanar Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. Later, in some of the verses, Krishna has said something similar. Maya, Maya Devi is in charge of the material world, and everything is happening under her supervision, and everything is happening in this material world is under her supervision, and she is ultimately acting under Krishna's supervision. So that's why we say that everything ultimate cause is Krishna, remote cause is law of karma, which is operated by Maya Devi, and immediate cause, if that is available, that is due to our mistake. Krishna says, Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sa characharam hetunanina konteya jagadvi parivartate. That this material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti. So, the Mayavadis, now from Maya Devi to Mayavadis, those who who challenge Krishna's existence, those who want to use Krishna to go beyond Krishna, and who have an offensive attitude towards Krishna. So, impersonalists have these two types. One is Mayavadi, and one is Brahmavadi. Now, consider this, that this is the soul, this is Bhagavan, and this is Brahman. Now, this is the conception of impersonalists, that God is so much all pervading that he cannot be captured in a statue, in a deity, and therefore whatever deity you may initially worship, you don't you want to go beyond that deity to the unmanifested Brahman. So this is the conception. So a soul is rejecting Prakriti. So this is Prakriti, this is soul. A soul is rejecting Prakriti. That this is the impersonalist conception we are discussing. Impersonalists reject Prakriti. They may perform some bhakti, uh, but they may have a deity worship. They may consider some deity, but this is a tool to go to Brahman. They're not attracted by the deity form. They're not. They don't. It's like a. We've seen karate movies in past. It's like a kid taking admission into a karate school, and you see that master will student will be a resident student, and the master will teach him. So a kid along with other kids are also bowing down to the master, but inside his mind he's thinking that tomorrow he will kill his master and become master of himself. He will kill his guru, and he will become the guru of this entire school. Now this is the attitude of a Mayavadi philosopher, a Mayavadi bhakti practitioner, which is what Krishna says is offensive to Krishna. And Krishna does not, Krishna deal with this kind of attitude with just words, where he's saying that avajananti mam mudham manushim tanumashrutam. Krishna says that मोघशा मोघ कर्माणो मोघ ज्ञाना विचेतसः rakshasi asuri chaiva prakriti mohini shritaha. So those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demoniac and atheistic views. In that deluded condition, their hope for liberations, their creative activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated. Now, Krishna deal with these people in very, very strict words. Brahmavadis he will still consider to be better of than these the Mayavadis, and there he says that the path is very difficult. But here Krishna criticizes them. Krishna criticizes them in very, very clear language, and he doesn't. So it's very clear that Mayavad philosophy amongst the impersonalists. So Mayavad philosophy is the most dangerous philosophies, and therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada has advised us to be very careful. Don't watch every video that is available on YouTube talking about Bhagavad Gita, because you never know, it could be made up by some Mayavadi philosophers to uh, to give you completely distorted meaning. And the Brahmavadi philosopher also is like here the soul. He will reject the prakriti, and he may also worship Bhagavan aspect, but he is more attracted towards towards the Brahman aspect of the Bhagwan. So he consider Brahman to be better than the Bhagwan, but he is not disrespectful towards Bhagwan per se, and therefore klesho, their path is filled with klesha. Klesha means with lots of suffering. It's not easy path, and therefore Krishna does not criticize them, but consider those that path to be very, very difficult to follow. And hence he says bhakti is supreme, because in bhakti you are rejecting the material world, you are getting becoming detached with the material world, and you are going past Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. You are directly worshipping Bhagwan, which is the highest manifestation of Krishna, uh, who has a capacity to reciprocate with devotee, with a jiva in all rasas. As a person, Bhagwan can reciprocate with his devotees in all practical all rasas available. Bhagwan and Paramatma will have those limitations, but Bhagwan has no limitation. So Bhagwan can become your child or become your lover, and become your master, and become your chariot driver. He can do anything and everything. Truly, in all rasas, he can reciprocate with you the way you want it. That's the beauty of Bhagwan manifestation. So, so now, having come to the conclusion that Bhagwan manifestation is highest, what does devotee do? A devotee satata kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrata. So devotees have to strive hard with dridhavrata. Why? Because Maya is indeed strong. Maya can trip us from the right path. We see so many devotees who start bhakti very enthusiastically, but as they become very comfortable in bhakti, or as they face some difficulties in their material life, they leave bhakti and they go away. Why? Because Maya itself is very strong. Uh, view may not. So one needs to be fixed in bhakti to be able to believe that Krishna will protect me in all conditions, and whatever Krishna is doing to me is for my best interest. In order to get that faith, one has to perform bhakti with dridhavrata, yatantascha dridhavrata. And how satata kirtayanto mam, bhakti has to be performed continuously. Now we now everything has tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam. So this satata aspect of bhakti is highlighted, that bhakti is not a part-time job. Bhakti is not like a club where we go Sunday to Sunday. Bhakti is not a vacation that we go for a vacation once in 6 months. Bhakti is not to be done when we have nothing else to done, when nothing else to do. Bhakti is not the last option when on our to-do list. Bhakti should be the first option on our to-do list. Bhakti should be the reason for which we should perform material activity. Bhakti should be the reason for which we should have family life. Bhakti should be the reason for which we should develop relationships. Bhakti is should become the center, should take the center stage of our life, and everything else becomes secondary. Satata kirta yanto mam yatantascha dridhavrata prayat namasyantascha mam bhaktya nikta yukta upasate. Such devotees are perpetually worship me in devotion. Now it's a tough task. but it is easy then compared to all other tasks, all other paths. Ananyas chintayanto mam. Now, is it that everything has to be done by the devotee? Does Krishna take only ownership? Does Krishna does something for the devotees? Now that Krishna will explain in the subsequent verses. That Ananyas chintayanto mam, if you do if you think about me with ananya chintayanto mam, with without any division, without any deviation, or with exclusive devotion, as Prabhupada translate, if you meditate on me with exclusive devotion, then what I will do, I will carry what you lack and I will preserve what you have. Yoga kshema vahamyaham. Now Krishna from this verse onwards will start telling that how he can be conquered by the process of bhakti. Now, by the process of bhakti, that's why this chapter is called Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam. And it has to be Pratyakshat Avagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartum Avyayam. This has to be realized by one's own self. Just like I cannot describe you how tasty a rasgulla is. You have to eat it by yourself to understand how delicious a rasgulla can be. So, similarly, I Krishna has described, but one has to experience oneself by performing, by taking up the process of bhakti. One has to experience oneself how Krishna intervenes in their lives. By Krishna is here saying that yoga kshemam vahamyaham. I'll carry what they lack and I'll preserve whatever they have, so that their process of bhakti, their practice of bhakti, they can become steady in their practice of bhakti and they can become successful. Krishna want us to become successful. Krishna is not here to take our test. That job is given to Maya Devi. She will keep testing us till the last second. But Krishna is here to help us, and with Krishna on our side we will be victorious. With Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on our side, we will win over the Maya Devi. With Srila Prabhupada on our side, we can conquer in one lifetime and go back to Krishna in this lifetime itself. That faith we should have when we practice bhakti. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhukta cha prabhu cha natu mam abhijananti tatve natascha vantite. I am the enjoyer and master of all sacrifices and all austerities. So direct everything to me. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yomi bhakta prayashyati. If you can offer me with love and devotion a leaf, flower, fruit, or a water, I will accept it. Now that because I'm hungry, I have nothing else to eat, because I cannot reject anything that is offered with love and devotion. And if you can show little love and little devotion, i I become your slave. I Even if I'm not hungry, I will accept. I'm forced to accept. So you are becoming superior to me practically. As a devotee, you can command me to eat whenever, if no matter whether I want to eat or not. I'm my choice. I don't have a choice but to eat whenever you offer with me, offer something to me with love and devotion. So I become subordinate to you. Krishna is saying I become my devotees subordinate. The devotees become superior to me. I become their subordinate, and they can make me dance whatever they want me to do. They can make me do. Whenever they want me to feed, they can feed me, and I will force to eat. Now, is that all? The Krishna says, my devotees do everything for me, and therefore I cannot say no to them. What do they do? Whatever they do that as an offering to me. They do it as an offering to me. Whatever they eat, whatever you offer, whatever you give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that as an offering to me. This is where Krishna says, if you do this, then what will happen? Shubha Ashubha Phale Raiva Moksha Se Karma Bandhane. You become free when you perform devotional service with such intensity, with such pure heart, pure devotional service. When you perform, you become your mind becomes fixed on me. With this, in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated from all the auspicious and inauspicious results of your activities, previous results of your activities, and you can come to me. Now that is the goal. Krishna has been reiterating this goal again and again, verse after verse. Now again, Krishna will say that though I am equal to everyone, I I um, I do favor to my devotees. Those who are devoted to me, I naturally become favorable to them. Though I'm supposed to be equal to all, those whoever render service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am in them, and I'm a friend to them. So he intervenes. So Krishna personally intervenes. So Krishna personally sometimes do favors. Krishna's favor may come in different forms. We may not understand it. Krishna may give us something, or may remove something from us, which is a hurdle for our progress in bhakti. So at times we may want something material. Our life can become easy and more enjoyable by Krishna's mercy, or our tolerance to enjoy our tolerance and patience to deal with problem increases, but the problem per se does not go away. And both are Krishna's mercy. Both can be seen as should be seen as Krishna's mercy. Sometimes Krishna will remove difficulty from our life, or sometimes Krishna will give us tolerance and patience to tolerate that difficult situation in our life. So in either case, devotees see this as mercy from Krishna, uh, and thereby he commit to Krishna more. And Krishna says uh, that his mercy can come in any form. And but at times the devotee may also fall down from their position, or may indulge in some wrong activities. Now what is the fate? What can be the fate of such devotees? A devotee the most may commit a most abominable action, but if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly, because he is properly situated in his determination. So he is not deviated. His deviation in his mind, he's not deviated, or there's no doubt in his mind, uh, where he's considering whether to perform devotional service or not. He's fixed in his devotional service. And from such a devotee, even if something wrong happens, he should be considered saintly. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma, very quickly becomes righteous and attain lasting peace. So, O Arjuna, my devotees will never perish. Declare it boldly, O Arjuna, my devotee never perishes. Now, Kaunte pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Now, these are the assurances one after another Krishna is giving. And let me just remove things. Animate. Hope, please don't do it again, whoever was doing it. So, uh, Aham Sarvasya Prabho. So after having given those assurances, Krishna moves to 10th chapter, where Krishna is again reminding that in the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, we picked up two verses from that Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Matta Sarvam Pravartate Iti Matva Bhajante Mam Buddha Bhava Samanvitaha. That Buddha Bhava Samanvitaha, that you should worship me with all the bhava, wholeheartedly. Why? Because you should know itimatva bhajante mam, buddha. Those intelligent people, those are, if you are intelligent enough, you will understand that aham sarvasya prabhaho matta sarvam pravartate. When you understand this part, then if you are really intelligent, you will start worshipping me with all your heart. Will wholeheartedly you will start performing a bhajan devotional service unto me. So it's not, again Krishna is reiterating the point that it's bhakti is not meant for unintelligent and lazy people. Bhakti is meant for intelligent and active people, extremely intelligent and extremely active people. Bhakti is not easy. So I'm the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their heart. Sarva bhavena. Again, 10th verse, which we have discussed again earlier, Desham Satata Iktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam. If we do our part, by by knowing this, that Krishna is everything, Krishna is the source of everything, everything, the material, the spiritual, everything is emanating from Krishna, is part and parcel of Krishna, and Krishna is the worthy object for my worship. And then if I start worshiping him with all my heart, and if I do that lovingly, not as a matter of duty, not as a matter of just gratitude, but if I do that priti purvakam, if I do that with love, then Krishna says, dadami buddhi yogam tam ye namam upayantite. The ultimate goal is to go back to Krishna, to come to Krishna. And for that they need to be given more understanding, they need to be given more intelligence. That buddhi yoga, dadami buddhi yogam ten, uh, yena mam upayantite. So that Krishna has to give us some additional intelligence, by which, by Krishna's mercy only, we can understand Krishna in tattva. And tattva deham punarjanma neti mamiti so arjuna. If we understand Krishna in tattva, then we will never forget Krishna, we will completely remember Krishna, we will always remember Krishna, and thereby we will go attain Krishna. We will remember Krishna throughout our life, also end of our life, and thereby we will attain Krishna. That is the simple steps that Krishna has explained. In the 10th verse, Krishna says that whatever, know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. Now, whatever people are, jivas are attracted to women, jivas are attracted to opposite sex, jivas are attracted to beautiful creations by man, Taj Mahal and some other beautiful creations, they are attracted towards nature, the beautiful landscape, beautiful river, beautiful lakes, snow peaks, valleys, mountains. The people are attracted by different qualities shown by people. Some are able to do magic, some are able to do great gymnastics, some are able to jump high, some can run fast. All these qualities, whatever is attractive, whatever is opulent and beautiful and glorious in this creation that is available, that is can be seen. Krishna says that everything, all that is possible by a spark of my splendor. Mama Tejo Ansha Sambhava. By Tejo Ansha, the Tej originally belongs to me. If somebody is the most declared as the most beautiful person on the planet, now know that her beauty comes from me. I am the original source, and by me, from me, that beauty comes. And because of me, such person can become beautiful. Argentina can win football world cup, and somebody can get a godly status. Now his ability to kick ball comes from Krishna. And Krishna, once you know this, your appreciation for Krishna increases, your love for Krishna will increase, because jivas are naturally attracted to all that is glorious, all that is opulent, all that is beautiful. But by knowing that everything comes from Krishna, one's appreciation for Krishna will increase, and not one will not get remain entangled in those beautiful objects, which are beautiful, but it's connection with Krishna that makes those objects beautiful, not otherwise. They are on their own are not beautiful. 11th verse, Krishna says, Nimitta matra bhava savya sachin, kalosmi, I'm time, I am the great destroyer of the world. Now, and then Krishna says that, oh Savyasachi, become an instrument in the fight. I have already killed them. You just perform your duty as a Kshatriya, fight a war, enjoy a win, conquer your enemies, enjoy a flourishing kingdom, and thereby, you become an instrument in the fight. Nimitta matra bhava Savyasachi. So everything has already been done. Krishna says, I am that authority. You are worried about death of your Bhishma, but that death is me. That time, who will eventually make sure that everyone is killed, that time is me. I am that time. And then as a time, I have authority. I have authority. Everything is under my jurisdiction. Everything in to kill people is my jurisdiction, is my job, and I will do it in any way. So you become instrument in doing it. Help me do this and become glorious. Win an enemy-free kingdom and enjoy that kingdom. Now, 11.54, uh, Krishna says that, again, after seeing the after seeing the beautiful, the universal form, Krishna says that how you can understand me, how you can understand me is by bhaktyatva ananya shakya, bhaktyatva ananya shakya. It is possible only by undivided devotional service I can be understood as I am standing before you. And thereby only in this way can you enter the mysteries of my understanding. So Krishna, understanding Krishna is not easy. Knowing Krishna Katha is maybe easy, but understanding Tattva behind Krishna Katha is difficult. Understanding how Krishna is endeavoring to, out of love for his all the living entities, how Krishna is endeavoring to reclaim our attention back to him, to reclaim, to facilitate our journey back to him. How much Krishna is endeavoring out of love for all the living entities. That is the tattva very difficult to understand. And so again, one who is a devotee can only enter into the mysteries of my understanding. Very beautifully Krishna is describing. 12th chapter is Bhakti Yoga. The whole chapter is devoted to bhakti, but some two verses, important verses, Maya Vesha Mano Yemam Nitya Yukta Upasate, that Supreme, what is best, Nitya Yukta Upasate, and Maya Vesha Mano Yemam. Those who fix their minds on me, on my personal form, and are always engaged in worshipping me, are a great transcendental faith, are considered by me to be the most perfect. Again, the beginning of this chapter, that where Krishna is saying, Arjuna asks a question that uh, whether worshipping personal worship is or impersonal worship, which is better. Now impersonal worship in this context, Krishna explains that in the fifth verse. He explains about the Brahmavadi. He has already criticized Mayavadi is one who is paying respect to the master but wants to kill the master and become master himself. Now that is crude example which we saw for a Mayavadi. A Brahmavadi is not offensive towards master, but he sincerely believes that Brahman is the basis. Brahman is the origin, and Bhagwan is the intermediate stage. And so he may also perform bhakti to a deity worship, but his ultimate objective is to go beyond deity and merge in the Brahman, which we'll see in the 15th chapter verse. That is, having gone there, also one has to find a person and surrender to him. So doing it now is much better than doing it then. So this is the Brahmavadi's progress is very difficult. Kleshodhik, Kleshodhiksta, it's a very kleshodhik. Kleshodhik is very difficult. Attach the those who are minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of supreme advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in this, that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. Bhakti ladder is important, and Bhakti ladder starts with the 8th verse in the 12th chapter, where Krishna says that uh, Mayeva mana adhastva mayi buddhi niveshaya. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the personal form again, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus, you will live in me always without a doubt. Now, this is the highest stage of bhakti Krishna gives, and then subsequent verses Krishna gives. If you cannot do this, then at least do this. Abhyas kar lo. Abhyas bhi nahi ho raha hai, to do some activity for Krishna, and so on and so forth. So the series of verses starting with 12.8, 9, 10, 11, 12, Krishna explains how you can, what if you cannot do this, at least do this. If you cannot do this also, at least do this. If you cannot do this also, then do this. So that you're making a all inclusive ladder where you are providing something for everyone. Not everybody is able to come to the level of pure devotional service, though it is desirable. So people should be provided facility to progress towards that ultimate objective from the place where they are and at the pace they can. There is a different speed in which everyone can travel, and everyone is situated in different place. So the place and pace Now both need to be provided. People need to be provided facility from wherever they are, and at whatever speed they can progress towards Krishna, they should be given facility. And therefore Krishna is creating this facility through this series of verses, where he doesn't say that this is best and everybody should try to do this only. While he gives what is best, he gives what is less than best also. So make it all inclusive. In the 13th chapter, where Krishna discussed a lot of Gyan section, what is Purusha, what is Prakriti, what it is, what is Jnana, and what is the Jnana Geyam, what is the ultimate knowledge that we want to give, and so on and so forth. Very difficult concepts, but Krishna says all those you can understand. The role of Paramatma, role of the the role of the super soul, the role of the played by the super soul, the as a overseer and a permitter, upadrashta anumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwara. So as a overseer, the how can one understand? One can understand it again. He's compared different path by karma yoga, by dhyana yoga, but he's saying easy is the shruti parayana. Shruti parayana is the one by hearing. One can simply learn this by hearing from the authorities, and thereby you can you can transcend the path of birth and death. Simply by hearing from the authorities, you can transcend the path of birth and death. And that is the shruti parayana. Again, shruti parayana, shrutvan nebhya upasate. One has to hear and one has to act on that hearing. One has to learn and then one has to practice. So upon hearing about him from others, they begin to worship the supreme person upon hearing from him from others. Now this is important. So hearing is there and worship is there, both aspects are there. One hear and one does not act on what one has learned, then it is not useful. One has to hear and immediately start acting, put his learning into action, and then only it is beneficial. So one can understand the modes of material nature. The 14th chapter one explains the modes of material nature, the rajoguna, sattva and tamoguna, and how what influence they cause upon us. And so Krishna is saying in this case that one who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcend the modes of material nature and come to the level of Brahman. But he doesn't stop by just describing Brahman. He says that, and I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, eternal, and the constitutional position of the ultimate happiness. Now that Brahman is the reality, and ततः पदम तत्परिमार्गतव्यम यस्मिन् गताना निवर्तन्ति भूयाः. Now this is that reality. Yasmin gatana nivardanti bhuyaha. Once having gone there, one does not have to return. One need not come back, because Brahman is actually effulgence coming out of Lord's body, and from there, one if one is knowledgeable, one can progress towards Lord directly. One need not come back again. But if one gets bored in that position, if one does not have any activity, one will obviously get bored in that situation, and then one may cultivate a desire for him to come back to the material world again. But in general, one need not come back from that place. Brahman, that's the Brahman realization once having achieved. However, to move further from Brahman to Bhagwan, one should find Tvameva Chadyam Purusham Prapadye Yatha Pravrutti Prasuta Purani. One should search for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything has begun, everything has emanated, and who is the oldest person. He's the oldest person, Purani, and everything has extended since time immemorial. Now that person one has to find and one has to surrender to such a person. Now, after having achieved Brahman realization, um, without surrendering to Supreme Personality of Godhead, it becomes very difficult to surrender then. Rather, surrendering today is much more easier. Why? Because of the difficult situation we are all in. Every padam yad vipadam means there is vipada, there is a dukkha at every stage, and that dukkha will help us remember that this is Dukkhalaya Shashvatam. This is not a place for gentlemen. This is not a place where we belong to. And hence we should try to go back to Krishna. The last two verses, which Krishna speaks to Arjuna in the 18th chapter, which we'll study in due course, where Krishna says, Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mama vishyasi satyam te pratijani priyosi me and sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayashyami masucha. So after having spoken everything, the entire Bhagavad Gita, in the 63rd verse, Krishna says something significant to Arjuna. Krishna says that uh, इच्छा यथा इच्छासी तथा कुरु. uh, uh, yatha ichhasi tatha kuru means after having spoken entire Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is still retaining the choice with Arjuna. Yatha ichhasi tatha kuru vimbrishena asheshena yatha ichhasi tatha kuru. Do as you will like to do, O Arjuna. So Krishna is not taking away the free will. The free will or the original desire is the key. We have misused our free will and we have landed up in this material world. Krishna does, after speaking Bhagavad Gita, also Krishna doesn't take away that free will from Arjuna, and he says, now whatever you desire, as you do, as per your desire, you act, O Arjuna. And then Arjuna still gets confused and is trying to recall everything, whatever he has heard. This yoga, that yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, then dhyana yoga, then buddhi yoga, then impersonal Brahman, impersonally the Mayavadis, what happens to the Mayavadi, what happened to the Brahmavadi, what happens to the demigod worshipper, where and who and where I should now do, what should I do. So seeing him in this again silent condition, he is contemplating on everything what he has heard. Krishna gives him these two verses as the final dose of it speaks this out of it's outburst of his love for Arjuna. He just doesn't want Arjuna to make a wrong choice at this critical junction, and hence he speaks these two beautiful verses that just think of me, always think of me, man mana bhava mad bhakto, become my devotee, mad yaji, worship me, pay and mam namaskuru, pay obeisances to me, and thus mam evashyasya satyam te prati jani priyosi me. You are very dear friend to me, you are, because you are my very dear friend, I promise you this, that you will come to me without fail. And sarva dharman parityajya, that give up all varieties of religion, all kind of religions, just do what I say you to do, just do whatever my will is. Mam ekam sharanam vraja and aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayashyami mashucha. I can deliver you from all sinful reactions, do not fear. I can deliver you because I have the authority to do so, I am the jurisdiction to do so. And do not fear. He gives this assurance, and then Arjuna in devotion surrenders to Krishna. The surrender is out of love, lovingly surrendering to Krishna, just like a just like a child surrenders to his mother. In the middle of night, a baby surrenders to his mother, her mother. In that way, Arjuna surrenders to Krishna, and he knows Krishna has best is his best interest in his mind, and whatever Krishna will tell, Arjuna is prepared to do. And therefore Arjuna says that nashto moha smritir labdha tvat prasadan maya achyuta sthitosmi gata sandeha karishe vachanam tava. So with this, almost that's the end of Bhagavad Gita. Afterwards, Sanjay speaks few verses, and then that he concludes the Bhagavad Gita by saying that wherever there is a Yogeshwar Krishna, there there is Dhanurdhar Partha, indicating that Arjuna has now lifted his bow and arrow, which he had kept aside at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, saying that he cannot fight, which he is Tatra Partha Dhanurdhara, means the one who is holding the Dhanusha, and which means he's now lifted his Gandhi and he now prepared to fight. And Tatra, that's wherever these two are present, the Vijay Shri, the victory, the Lakshmi will always be there, will always be present there. So this is the victory of Bhakti Yoga, the path of bhakti, the whole battle was between different yogas, different path to be followed for attaining perfection. And by Krishna guided through all the path, and he makes sure that the path of bhakti remains victorious. And this is the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita, that ultimately everything has to be done for Krishna's pleasure. Now that is action in Bhakti Yoga. That is the action of Bhakti Yogi. So with this, we will pause for today's session. From next Sunday onwards, we will resume our study of Bhagavad Gita from 17th chapter. Few verses we'll see from 17th chapter and 18th chapter, and then we will conclude the study of Bhagavad Gita in few sessions starting from next Sunday. So please continue joining those sessions as well. Those will be quite interactive sessions. The 17th chapter is again, will go back to the modes of material nature, the actions performed by different people and different types of actions performed by different people under different under the influence of different modes. So we'll be conducting those discussions as well, and we'll conclude with the summary of Bhagavad Gita, that is 18th chapter. So we'll see if there are any questions. We can take questions if anyone has. And
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
yes, Praji, we have a couple of hands raised. I think Mitali Mataji has
Okay.
a hand raised.
Right.
Aishwarya Mataji has also, I think, raised hand in between. I remember. So Mitali Mataji, if you can ask question, we can discuss that.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I just saw in the text one sentence which was written that surrender is a must. So either surrender now or surrender after attaining Brahman. But surrendering now is better. So I didn't understand the part where you have said that surrender now or surrender later when you attain Brahman. So what does that mean? Can you explain that?
Yeah. So that in the 15th chapter, Krishna is describing of someone who is progressing in the bhakti, in the path of devotional service. That after the Brahman is also a place where one can reach, and he says there, after reaching there also you have to find that Purusha, Uttama Purusha, Purushottama, and there you have to surrender to him, so that you can ultimately attain Bhagavan. Now attaining Bhagavan is the ultimate objective. If you remain in Brahman realization, after, because that place where there is no activity, one soul is active by nature. So if soul is not given any activity, soul may likely to return, develop a desire to return back to the material world, and thereby it is like undoing all the progress that you have made. You have reached up to the Brahman platform, but if you can surrender to that Uttama Purusha, then you can actually attain Bhagavan platform also. You can complete your perfection. You can go to the spiritual world. By entering the spiritual world, you can attain Bhagavan. However, anyone who has done the progress so much, so today in the Brahman realization, there is that is free from three tapa, threefold miseries that we experience in the material world. It is also free from the repeated birth. It is almost spiritual world, but it's one step behind spiritual world. It's a outskirts of spiritual world, we can say. So 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 a jiva may go there, and if going there itself is a big achievement. It is no it is no small achievement. So, and after having achieved something big, one may not have inclination to surrender to anyone, because you have done that on your own. Here in the material world, it is very easy for us to perceive the difficulties that we have, and it is difficult to it is very easy to perceive how we are not in control of our life, how we are how how we go through difficult situation one after another. Constantly we are facing, we are trying to fix things in this world. And so it's very easy to become subordinate to somebody, and it is easy to surrender to Krishna, and but knowing that Krishna is in control of the whole world, and everything is happening with his under his supervision. So with this, it's easy to surrender to Krishna now than surrendering to Krishna after attaining such a advanced position.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, Payal Mataji, then Ravi Prabhu, then Sudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for taking my question.
Yes, you have written the question somewhere, or you are
No,
going to
no, no,
speak?
no. I am going to explain it to you.
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Actually, my question is a bit different from what we what you have explained here, because I always wait for your sessions here. So first of all, thank you so much for bringing up with such beautiful sessions. And my question is, Prabhuji, that whenever I do meditation, whenever I do chanting, sometimes I go into some illusionary world, like, my third eye chakra, whenever I do some meditations. So how to deal with such illusions, that there are sometimes I go into some illusions that I'm talking to some, you know, some power force or something, like when like some illusions
Okay.
that, yeah.
Yeah. So you see that all the time, or during japa session, chanting
Only
session? You see?
only japa sessions, that that there is some illusion, that Maya or something that is trying to deviate me or something, like, some delusions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, different people have different experiences while japa doing while doing japa, and when we try to concentrate on Krishna, when we try to hear Krishna's name, that's where the mind can actually mind when mind is not ready to listen to us, mind can throw different challenges in different ways, can try to trick us in different ways. And one of such way can be we go into illusory world. uh, why illusory world? Even one may if I could be a I may go to my office. I may go in past what happened yesterday, or may go in future what's going to happen today. I will go to office. I'll do this, do that. This person said that to me yesterday. I'll give him this reply today, and so and so forth. So the 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 mind can actually play a movie anytime, and it could be a completely illusion movie or coming out of our imagination, or it could be related with our life, or it could be related with our past, or it could be to do something with our future. Now these are all tricks that played by mind to deviate us from japa, and that happens because we have not instructed our mind properly. Like yesterday, Bhujan Prabhuji said in the japa session that you have to sit down at a place and tell your mind that for next 1 hour you are going to concentrate on japa only. This is the only thing that you have to do. You don't have to worry about switch off your phone, switch off your or whatever. They get disconnected from the rest of the world and focus only on japa. And if world collapses, you will anyway come to know after 1 hour that the world has collapsed. And if nothing changes, that also you will come to know after 1 hour. So tell your mind not to be bothered about anything else other than hearing Krishna's name, and pray to Lord Chaitanya, pray to our gurus, acharyas, Shad Goswamis to help us achieve this. This is a simple talking that we need to do with our mind at the beginning of our japa. Uh, and we can do this in our own language, our own words. It need not be a prayers, elaborate prayers that we can speak. We can say prayers, but if this kind of a talk we can do to our mind ourselves. And then when we sit down to do japa, and we take one round at a time, one mantra at a time, we try to hear. And there will be occasions when we will either go forward, backwards, future, past, or completely imaginary world we may enter. All those things will be there, that will keep happening, and this is, you'll have to keep bringing mind back on the track. बाय जैसे कान पकड़ के बच्चों को लेके आते हैं, वैसे उसको माइंड को भी कान पकड़ के लेके आना है. एंड फॉर दैट टू हैपन वन हैज टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट यू आर डिफरेंट फ्रॉम योर माइंड. You have a mind, you are not mind. Now we at least sometimes, we just consider our mind to be us, and then we feel that I am only seeing it. It's not that I am seeing, your mind is showing and the soul is seeing. But you can instruct mind to switch off that movie and focus on hearing the japa. So as we discussed, the one in one of the session, that when we are absent minded, so if you are in the class, happen to be in the office meeting, we took example of office meeting, that we start the meeting, we are present in the meeting, and we are hearing, we are responding, and suddenly we get a thought whether हमने घर लॉक किया था कि नहीं किया था, गैस खुला तो नहीं छोड़ दिया, खाना खुला ओपन तो नहीं है, and so and so forth, different thoughts then go, and then our mind take us back to our home. And now physically, though we are present in the meeting, our mind is not present. So the soul is watching a movie that mind is playing of we leaving home that morning. So soul is busy watching that movie. So soul is not present to take the messages which are coming from the rest of the senses. So senses, the eyes are showing something, ears are sending messages that boss is saying something, colleagues are answering this question, some questions are being asked to you. Now all these things are flowing into the mind, but mind is busy playing movie and the soul is busy watching that movie of we leaving home, कि हमने घर पे घर कैसे छोड़ा, क्या बंद किया था, पहले कौन से रूम में गए थे, ये रूम गैस बंद भी किया था कि नहीं, लॉक किया था कि नहीं. एंड if we find comfort कि हाँ किया था सब ठीक ठाक, then we may become peaceful, and then our this movie ends, and then we may switch to the meeting, and then we from that moment onwards we may start hearing what is spoken in the meeting. But during that movie, whatever was spoken, we have lost that message. Though we are physically there, we are mentally absent. And so that can happen. So this illusionary images that you see, or the events that you see, it's a movie played by mind, and the soul is busy watching that movie. Now, as long as you are watching that movie, the soul is not available to hear the sound of mantra that is coming in through the ears. So you'll have to tell your mind to switch off the movie and focus back on hearing the mantra. Soul can do one activity only. Soul cannot do multitasking. Soul, if soul becomes busy watching movie, so will soul will not be here able to hear the mantra as you are chanting. So for that, what you can probably do is you can chant a Narasimha prayer at the beginning of every Mahamantra. You can chant Namo Mahavadanyaya prayer and Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam, that seek blessings from Panchatattva. Before every mantra, you can chant those two additional prayers. And beginning and before starting mantra meditation, you can actually start by Narasimha prayer as well, so that you can have as less troubles as possible from the mind.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you so much for your guidance. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Ravi Prabhuji and then Sudha Mataji.
Yes. Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much for the beautiful session. Can you please explain about the last two verses about the 18th chapter, Sarvadharmani Parakyati, and before that two verses, Prabhuji? Can you please explain again?
Yeah, so we'll discuss those verses later as in the course of discussion. But in in brief, those two verses summarizes the whole Bhagavad Gita message. That after having spoken to remove the to remove the confusion from the mind of Arjuna, Krishna says these two verses as a final push given to Arjuna to choose Bhakti Yoga, action in Bhakti Yoga over any other actions, any other yoga. And so Krishna speaks this, that man mana, that always think of me. Bhavamad Bhakto, become my devotee. So these are the final instructions given by Arjuna, Krishna to Arjuna, basis which then Arjuna gives up all anxiety, gives up all other deliberation, uh, evaluation of different options. He gives it all up and accept Bhakti Yoga as the final choice, and then says that I will do whatever you say. I will. That's action in Bhakti Yoga. I will perform actions in Bhakti Yoga. So we'll elaborately discuss those verses as we go along. Discuss the 18th chapter. But I picked up and decided to present those two verses. Those are so important verses. But we'll discuss them in due course.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Dhanavad
Okay.
Pranam.
Dandat Ramraji, Hare Krishna. Yes, Sudha Mataji, you have a question?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandat Pranam.
Prabhuji, actually my question was, you were saying that everything is happening for that. Krishna is responsible for that. Actually, I'm little confused about that. And my question is that some of the people are suffering, okay, and some are having a good life, okay, and that is, I want to know, that is the people who are suffering. It is because of the karma of God. Because God will never do bad things from others for with the children. And I'm little confused for that. Can you please guide me?
Yeah. So typically those who are suffering and some are enjoying seemingly. Um, your question is whether that is the will of Krishna or not. Is that question?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah. So Mataji, anybody who is so everyone, let us understand that everyone is suffering in the material world. Everyone is suffering. Those who are seemingly enjoying are also suffering. How? They are suffering because of the this is the four problems that we have are Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. And anyone who has taken birth is subjected to these four problems. The Jara is old age, Vyadhi is diseases, and Janma, Mrityu, that is the death and birth. Nobody wants to go through this cycle, but everyone is forced to enter the cycle and make made subjected to all these four changes. So to that extent everyone is suffering. Nobody wants to become old, but everyone is forcibly becoming old. Nobody wants to fall sick, but everyone falls sick. And nobody wants to die, and after death nobody wants to take birth again. The souls, uh, how a soul is thinking while he is in the womb of his mother, that is captured in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And he is offering prayers to Lord that he is goofed up in so many lifetimes. So if he is fortunate, he can remember up to his 100 past lifetimes during his stay in for 9 months in the womb. Now, externally, mothers are celebrating and the parents are celebrating. The family is celebrating, but inside the womb, the soul is put into a very extremely suffering condition, and being he's being bitten by worms of worms in the stool, the urine and stool of his mother in the bag, and hanging in the upside down condition. He's constantly praying to the Lord that he will not goof up, he will not repeat the mistakes that he did in his past life. So taking birth, and my point is taking birth is also extremely painful process. Now, so to that extent, everyone is suffering. Now, what about those who are apparently suffering? Those who are born without limbs or suffering, various diseases right at a small age, not been able to enjoy life or been deprived of basic necessities of life. Now that is also that is on though, as compared to those who are seemingly in a very well-to-do condition, don't have to think, they have sufficient money, they have sufficient opulence, living a good life with doing foreign vacations, eating pizza and pasta at their will, watching Netflix, all kind of channels are available. Going only flying, they don't travel by road or train, don't have to take. Now this is a apparently a comfortable position where where a jivatma is seems to be enjoying, and as compared to that there are conditions where people are suffering. suffering financial condition, suffering financially, suffering physically, suffering emotionally, suffering relationship issues, and many other issues. Now, for all these issues, all these seemingly enjoyment or seemingly suffering conditions, there are three stages of causation. The ultimate cause of everything is Krishna. The remote cause is law of karma, and the immediate cause is what we do immediately. For example, if we if we overeat previous night and get indigestion on the next day, now there will be now when the law of karma, when you have to invoke law of karma, when you cannot see a immediate cause, but when you can point to a immediate cause, because you ate overate last night, when there is a immediate cause that is available, there is it is given that the other two will be present anyway, so one need not go to those two things, one did not escalate to those two things, whether it was allowed by law of karma and whether it was ultimately sanctioned by Krishna. Those two things, if you find first cause, the other two will be there, that is given, you don't have to worry about that. When you don't find first cause, for example, if a child is born at the age of 10 diagnosed with cancer, child has never consume tobacco, which we can point as a immediate cause, that if one is consumed tobacco throughout one's life, one may get diagnosed with cancer at the age of say 40, 50, 60. Then you have a cause and effect relationship available, that because you consumed alcohol or because you consumed tobacco, you are diagnosed with so and so. However, for a 10-year-old child who has never consumed tobacco or alcohol, uh, how do you then decide that how can he be diagnosed with cancer? Now we see our span of analysis is one lifetime, but from Krishna's point of view it is multiple lifetime. Krishna's point of view, or even Maya Devi's point of view, she's she's not only giving us reactions of our current birth action. She's our just like if you have stolen a bank, if you have stolen the bank using wearing a blue t-shirt, uh, after coming home hiding the money cash, you change your t-shirt to white t-shirt, doesn't mean that you should not get caught, because you are the same person. Now you can say that in the CCTV the person who is stealing the bank is wearing a blue t-shirt and now you're wearing a white shirt, so you should not be caught, you should not be punished. Now that argument will not be accepted by police. Similarly, Maya Devi, who is in charge of giving us our karmic reactions, she is not concerned about the dress that you are wearing. She's her our sins or our bad karma is associated with our soul, is identified with our soul, and the soul is present in whichever body currently. If the suffering is due, it will be delivered to him, and you may not get the immediate cause, because immediately that the child probably could be 10-year-old child, and practically as long child in child's memory, child has not done anything wrong, but in Maya Devi's memory, child has done everything wrong, for which he's delivered his suffering in the form of say a bad disease, some incurable disease being getting diagnosed at a very young age without practically having done anything in the current lifetime, because our vision is one lifetime, but Maya Devi's vision is millions of lifetime. She can, if whatever is the accumulated fruits for last millions and billions of lifetimes, she is capable of storing that data and delivering us those fruits whenever they fall due. So because of our lack of knowledge, it may cause bewilderment to us कि ये ऐसे कैसे हो रहा है, ये हमारे साथ ऐसे कैसे हो रहा है, हमने तो कभी किसी का बुरा नहीं चाहा, बुरा नहीं किया, बट हम why are we suffering? And this is how we understand, when you expand the horizon of your analysis from one birth to multiple births, you open a Pandora's box, and then you realize that you don't have visibility beyond a certain point. In current birth also, you may not remember anything that you did in first 10 years or first 5 years. So what to speak of remembering previous births? So what then we do is we accept it as sanctioned by Krishna, and we accept the situation. We then mitigate the situation by doing best what we can. If we are diagnosed with some disease, you accept the situation, and then you try to find the best available situation, or best available medication, or medical treatment that is available, and you take that. If Krishna willing, you may get cured. Krishna willing, you may not get cured. And just tolerate the world, tolerate this situation, and there's nothing much beyond this you can do. And tolerate and cultivate bhakti, uh, knowing that why this is happening, how this is happening, and who is in control, and what that person who is in control want us to do. Krishna want us to perform bhakti. Krishna want us to perform bhakti and come back to him. That is clear out of today's session, and through multiple verses it's been repeated consistently by Krishna, and that message, just to make that message very loud and very clear. So we do what we have to do, that is perform bhakti, cultivate remembrance of Krishna throughout our life, and also remember Krishna at the end of our life by the mercy of Krishna, and then go back to Krishna. While we are present on this planet, the difficult situations will come and go. The enjoying situations will also come and go, and we have to tolerate both. We have to tolerate both as we live on in this world.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yes, Latika Mataji, you have hand raised. You have a question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, we can
Am I
hear.
Yes, sir, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I just wanted to ask one question. I just wanted to know why our past karmas uh, continues. Means why we not get settled that karma in that particular life only. Why we get suffering from another life, another life, another life. Why Krishna? Why not the Krishna gives us that knowledge to perform bhakti and go back to Krishna. See, when for example, when my child is not listening to me, I continuously saying that, but I'm seeing her doing something wrong, then I stop her, not to do, not to do. Why Krishna is not doing with that with us?
So, so when Krishna sent all the living entities on this planet, he sent them in the third chapter, 10th verse. Krishna says that uh, all the jivas are sent in the material world with the set of sacrifices, and by performing those sacrifices you shall try to live happily and liberate. Now this is the goal which we were all sent in the material world, and those sacrifices were towards demigods, because of which they will provide you what is necessities. All your necessities will be taken care of, and so that once your necessities are being taken care of, you can live happily and perform bhakti yoga to perform to for liberation, for the purpose of attaining liberation. Now um, when we perform sacrifices and when we got what we wanted, we got entangled into the enjoyments, and we forgot the second part, that is attempt perform bhakti and attempt for liberation. Now that part we've forgotten. uh, Now why? So this is, and Krishna has provided this information by way of manual, that is Bhagavad Gita. Now Bhagavad Gita provides us with this information, that how are we supposed to act in the material world, and that information is available right from day one. So Krishna, when he sent us on this planet, he sent us with he equipped us with the knowledge also. Now it's because we got caught up in our desires, or um, our entanglement with our own desires. We wanted to fulfill one desire after another, do one enjoyment after another, and because we got caught up in all this, we ignored this knowledge, and we kept doing wrong choices. Now with every wrong choice came a wrong consequences, a wrong effect, and then that's how the whole chain of cause and effect started. And Now, unfortunately, a jiva can only suffer. It's a jiva can only suffer, and the nature of the material world is such that the matter deteriorates. The matter, we saw in the previous session that matter once creates matter go through three stages. Matter is creation, there is deterioration and destruction. So if this building is created, from the day it gets created, it starts deteriorating, and eventually it will get destroyed. It will be demolished, and maybe another building will be constructed, or they will create some flat ground, and they but these three stages matter has to go through, and our body is made up of matter as well. So though the matter is functional or seems to be working, moving, as long as the soul is present inside the body, but the matter, rest of the matter is also subjected to the three changes which are unavoidable, and which are applicable to the matter. So the body is also going to get deteriorated, body is also going to get destroyed, and hence our lifespan becomes limited. Our lifespan in the current age, current yuga, is about 100 years, and in the previous years it had larger lifespans. However, these are limited lifespan, and one is given opportunity to perfect one's life and exit the world during one's own lifetime. So but what if one fails to do so? If one fails to do so, then he continues. The same facility is provided to the jiva in the next birth. But again, in every yuga, in every birth, the information is available how to how to exit the cycle of birth and death. Now that information is never deprived of. The jivas are not deprived of. When they say that the exam is taken, the syllabus is also published. It is not it is a surprise test. Is only surprise element in the surprise test is that of a timing. It is not that out of a syllable. It's not that we will ask questions from anywhere and everywhere, and we are not told you the syllabus. The syllabus is told. Syllabus is published. That is, Bhagavad Gita is published, is made available to all living entities in all the yugas. And whenever Bhagavad Gita was not available, Lord personally came and spoke Bhagavad Gita and made it available to the jivas from now onwards. So nobody can complain that the right information was not available. However, people didn't have time to study that right information and modify their lifestyles accordingly. Now that is not Krishna's fault. That ownership responsibility jivas have to take. So that's why, again, this has to do with the independence that Krishna has given to jivas. The small little independence that Krishna has given, Krishna does not want to take that away. And Krishna will not take that away, because we are also part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna has supreme independence, but we also have partial independence, small, minute independence. And using our independence, Krishna wants us to choose Krishna. Krishna, just like how we choose our spouse, how we choose wealth, how we choose education, how we choose to become more opulent, how we choose to purchase new car, how we make these choices, how we choose career over spirituality, how we choose family over spirituality, how we choose money over spirituality. Similarly, Krishna wants us to choose Krishna over everything else. And then Krishna says, I will help you. I will help you wholeheartedly. I will, you take one such step towards me, I will take 10 10 steps towards you. That's what he explained in the series of verses in the ninth chapter. But it's not, he doesn't want to make it a matter of compulsion. Just like, we want our child to love us, but we want our child to love us for who we are, not out of compulsion. We can't make a rule to to say that our child will will come and hug us whenever we return from office, uh, and if they fail to do so, they will not get dinner that day. A child will do it out of compulsion, but it's not out of love. But if the same thing is done by child out of love, or mother parent, as a parent, you will feel very happy, you will feel very delighted. So Krishna want Krishna is happy always, but he wants to become more happy. And when we return to him wholeheartedly, he becomes more happy. Therefore, it's a matter of choice. He has left it to be a matter of choice for us. It's not a compulsion. He's not taken away our free will. And using our free will, when we choose Krishna over everything else, he becomes more happy. He becomes very delighted, and then he help us wholeheartedly. So this is briefly that we understand why we are not given the we are. It's not that we are not given immediately. Some stage, some things, um, for some for some wrongdoings we get immediate reactions, but there are many wrongdoings for which we may get delayed reactions, and that's just the nature of the work.
Prabhuji, one more question. Prabhuji,
Yes, Mandaji.
one more question. As you said, means just starting of our station, that one Turkey boy having the birthmark, born with the birthmark, means only that is considered as only rebirth. Means what we are taken the birth. How would come to know that we are not taken that rebirth? Only that having that birthmark, we consider that person is taking rebirth. Means obviously that he proves that his story, but how that boy will live life, means lifespan, means his whole lifespan, because he's whatever, 8 year 10 years old boy, and he knows everything about his past life, then how he spend his whole life then, as a that previous old man with the previous old man memory, or that young boy with the young boy, means he will go to school studies and all, or with that past life, means his life will be miserable, right?
So two questions. How do we know that we are not taken second birth? How do we know that we are not because that boy's reincarnation was proven and ours is unproved? That does it mean that we are this is our first birth? That's kind of a question may come to some people there. So but Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvo janma mrutasya cha. Anybody who has taken birth is sure to die, and anybody who is dying is sure to take birth again. So all of us have gone through the multiple cycles of birth and death, and all of us, the whatever the nature that we have acquired is coming to us from our previous birth. The inclinations that we have, the qualities that we have, everything has continued. The our ability to take up Krishna consciousness, chant Krishna's name, is not current birth's development. It is a gradual process through which some spiritual sukriti that we have accumulated, because of which we could understand the message of Godhead when it is spoken. We can understand the message of Bhagavad Gita when it is explained. Because if you speak the same message to somebody who does not have that spiritual sukriti from his past life, he will not be able to understand anything, and he may fail to take up the process of bhakti. So his actions may start with small donation or small action like taking prasad, and from there it may begin. But um, but for somebody who is able to understand, make sense of scriptures, and take up feel inspired enough to take up the process of bhakti, it's indication of the fact that the similar bhakti was performed in past life. So this is not the first time we are hearing it. We may not have perfected it, but it is certainly coming from some past life karma. So by this we understand that we also had previous lives, and because of our life we are placed in a particular place in a society. We are not there are better people than us, there are materially worse people than us, and we are placed in where we are placed, in a particular family, in a particular level of intelligence, with a particular level of swarupa, whatever we have attained, and that is all due to our past karma. It's not by lottery that we picked up some ticket and we got this kind of a birth. And whatever the share of sufferings and enjoyments which are coming to us are also coming from the past life karma, accumulated karma and their fruits which are fructified. So it's one is clear that everyone has taken birth. Now some have remembered it, some retain the memory of that, and that happens generally if the event of their death is very significant. If one has died uh, a very painful death, or one has been extremely attached to something, because of some attachment, because of some lord's arrangement, one may one may retain previous life's memory in the current birth also. And spontaneous recollection of memory is generally considered more appropriate in the study of reincarnation cases, versus the inducement that is given to by in the under the hypnosis. So in that, again, the memory, one may be taken in the previous life through a process, through a hypnosis process, but at times it's difficult to differentiate key what the recollections which are coming are due to the suggestions, or their recollections, because the person who is operating the hypnosis can also give suggestions, and some person may speak out of those clues. But the spontaneous recollections is something where there is no, in the normal child, a 5 6 7 year old child is talking something significantly factual information about some place, some time, some people, which are unconnected, unrelated to the present day where he's taken birth. And what happens to such people? Now, most of them, the many such people, their memory fades in course of time, just like our memory fades. We don't remember, most of us may not remember what we did at the age of 5, or at the age of 6, or at the age of just 7. Now all that has happened in the same lifetime, but we may have very faint memory, or practically no memories of what we did in those days. But so it's natural. So what happens is, in due course of time, even those memories becomes fades, and people move on with their life. People go to study, people go to people lead their life normally. Now some of them may retain their status as a celebrity, because you have been proven as a case of reincarnation, and you have two families. But beyond that, this does not go anywhere. Most of the places where families are not god conscious, it does not lead to a discovery that yes, we are spirit, a soul, and we have moved from one body to another body, and we have capable of moving, like, from across bodies and across time place circumstances. Similarly, we can have ability to move back to the spiritual world also. It does not lead to any such significant discovery, spiritual realization to people just lead their normal life. That's what we've seen in many cases of reincarnation, many proven cases of reincarnation. And it just not, there are hundreds and thousands of reincarnation cases that are proven. Even if one is proven, it is sufficient to establish a rule. But since there are so many hundreds and thousands are proven, then that is the rule. But not everyone remembers. That's the fact. Okay, I think there are no more questions. We'll just see the chat box. Yeah. Okay, Hare Krishna. So I don't think there are any questions anymore. So let's close today's session. Next Sunday, we'll continue with our discussion on verses from chapter 17, and hope sooner we'll be able to conclude the Bhagavad Gita, and and continue with the practice of devotional service nevertheless. So let's end today's session. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat
Hare
pranam.
Bol.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhuji,
Hare
Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna
Thank you
Prabhuji,
very much.
Dhanavad Pranam. Thank you so much.